introduce my panel to you. Here with me, I am having my namesake. I have Sandra Kahunde, the co-founder and team lead of ShareCard. She'll be letting us know what she does at ShareCard and what it is all about. And yet again, I'm having Nabatanzi Goreti, a software developer. I want to find out for the young women out there who would like to be like Goreti, how can you tap in this particular tech world? That and much more as we start. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Good morning, Sandra.
Good to have you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for making time.
You're welcome.
Well, for the one who's watching at the extreme end, dressed in black, African, right there, I am having Sandra. And right here, I have Goreti next to me. How have you been? How is the tech world taking you when it comes to Uganda itself? I'm happy to know that many women out there, are enjoying fruits when it comes to STEM itself. Sandra, tell us about your journey.
My journey has been one day at a time, is what I like to describe it as. But it has been a very challenging, interesting, exciting journey. Starting in tech was something that I would say is has opened me up to explore more possibilities as a profession and also solving challenges in my own life and the communities that I intend to serve. So I would say my journey has been quite informative, discovering new things, working on myself as a person, discovering leadership as a woman, and also the strength to thrive in a male-dominated space. It's been quite empowering, I would say.
It has really empowered you.
Exactly.
You also had to put on those muscles just like the men.
In the beginning I did. And then recently I realized I really don't have to.
You just have to be yourself.
I just have to be myself. Being a woman and knowing the advantages that I have and the type of knowledge that I come with in this package, some things should come easy because I'm a multitasker, but at the end of the day, I've also realized that as a woman, I don't need to show up perfect all the time, which is what the world out there expects. And it's something that, given the type of support that I get these days, I'm realizing that I don't really have to. I don't really have
There's really too much expectation when it comes to the women. They're like, what can she offer? What can she do? And that just puts a lot of weight onto your shoulders.
Yeah, there is the need to, to show up, to prove yourself, to prove to everybody that you can do it despite the fact that you are a woman. But at the end of the day, because I am a woman, I know that I can actually do it. Women do so many things and, we excel at so many things. And even if people do not see it, at the end of the day, I'm not trying to prove a point to anyone. I'm just focused on the things that are important to me, the solutions that I want to build. And at the end of the day, that is what matters. I don't really need to prove myself to anyone. My work speaks for itself.
Amazing. Wow, that's really amazing. Goreti, I'll get to you. How has your journey been like, being a software developer?
Well, I remember to have started my senior 6 in 2018 at St. Henry's College, Namugongo. So way back I wanted to be an engineer, but little did I know of what is really in the field. So I remember it was from one of my teachers, from whom I actually got to know about the courses I could do. So he chose for me software engineering. So later on I had to apply, and successfully I was admitted to Makerere University for a bachelor's in software engineering. Yeah. So in the beginning, the course didn't make sense to me. Like things of development, working with website developments and mobile applications. Yeah. So with time, I got to know of what was really required and what I had to sit and start working on. Though unfortunately, due to the COVID outbreak, I later on dropped because my parents were unable to push me for further studies. Yeah, so I was very much disappointed, but I did not lose hope because I was very interested in the course. So I resorted to self-learning, whereby I used to make more use of resources like YouTube. I could download tutorials on how to develop different websites, on how to do the basic knowledge of programming. Yeah, so this kept me going and I actually learned a lot. Yeah, so it was actually from one of my old boys from whom I got to know that Women in Technology Uganda was calling in for new applicants. I later on applied for a scholarship in a diploma in computer science. Oh my God, the journey through the course was actually one of the hardest I got. I got hardships like I had to foot from my place of residence in Mengo to Makerere, like daily, so that I could get a cheaper taxi at 1,000 to travel to Kamocha. So there are days when I felt like giving up, you know, this is not my calling, or maybe it is a wrong course or a wrong sector I chose. But deep inside, I was very passionate about the course. Yeah, so despite all the hardships, I was very passionate, and I really had that kind of growth mindset that, you know what, if men out there can really program, why not me as a lady? So this kept me going, and fortunately, I emerged as one of the best students from the institute. And currently, I was retained as an assistant tutor in Python and PHP. So currently, I'm a full stack developer, though I've now specialized in development in a back end, developing the APIs, testing, and all that.
Wow.
Yeah. So I also
Your
work with...
story is so unique.
Thank you.
You know, along the way, all the hardships, you had that inner voice, the inner strength coming through.
Exactly.
And you don't have any regrets.
Not really.
So imagine being retained itself. So how is your work like?
Well, my work is always up and down, because I always have to do a lot, because I'm a freelancer, and also at times I have to wake up and go and teach. So at times I really find it that good, because, you know, you're teaching the same things, and then this other side you're also working, and it's always the same field. Yes.
And how do the students take you?
Oh, they're always surprised. They're all like, my God, how did you do this? Looks like you're young, and, you know, you're coding. So I always actually inspire them and give them some kind of mentorship that, you know what, girls, we can really do this. Yes. You know, there is always no limit to what we as women can always achieve. Yes. And besides, the future is brighter with women in technology. Yes. Now,
that is where I'll get to this other point where you mentioning that the women in the tech world, there's really a lot that can change.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Please break it down, because I mean, I want them to get to know that there's a variety that you can tap.
Exactly. So me personally, I realize that when it comes to the tech field, it is it's always focusing on the men than the women. Because for my case, I remember the first job I was actually given, there were like 80% men compared to the women. And then at times they used to be like, you know, how comes she's coding, how comes she's developing, and how comes she's really doing this at such a young age? So this kept me going. So that is why at times I'd be like, the future is always bright for women in technology. And then with the fact that currently very many countries are also embracing technology. Yes.
Well, Sandra, I'll get to you. What does it take for a woman in the tech world?
I think one thing I've discovered for myself is it took understanding what I want my purpose to be as a woman, what I want to be remembered for, and the problems that I want to solve. And these, for me, started with the problems in my own personal life. Growing up in a very poor neighborhood, my parents not being able to afford school fees, and dropping out of high school, and, you know, just, you know, not being able to go into a higher stage of learning, I went straight into the workspace. Good enough, I had a very supportive upbringing in the workspace. My mentorship was top notch. I remember Shanice Kachungira took me in when the digital marketing space was still coming up. And I think for me, that was the beginning of the introduction into the digital space, understanding what technology can do for me as a human being, as a woman, and also, you know, what possibilities are out there for me to actually, you know, tap into. And that is how it started. And then, you know, diving straight into the COVID times when I was really struggling. I was out of a job. I could not even afford to buy myself a pad. And that's for me where my journey started, is like, I'm struggling with all of these problems. And I'm sure that there are people out there who are just like me, who are struggling. You know, humanitarian offices had closed their doors to their beneficiaries because, one, they had no visibility of how to, you know, how do we reach these people? The lockdown was really tight. I think we all remember that time.
Yes, it was really tough,
and
the
then,
situation.
you know, just going through that problem of not being able to access, you know, a pad is where it all began.
Your heart poured out to other women.
Exactly.
Someone out there could be in the same situation.
Yeah, because I remember that, you know, during that week I actually missed 2 job interviews because I just could not go.
There was no way.
There was no way, and I got my period, and there was no way to go. And I just imagine, like, you know, for a girl who is in the same position as me, what would they, you know, what would need to be in place for them to get support?
So the opportunity passed just like that.
Yes.
Wow.
And, you know,
that is how you had to think of several innovations.
Exactly.
To lift up a girl somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, with my knowledge in, you know, how powerful technology is just from the digital marketing space, I started thinking, okay, if the banking sector has evolved to a place where I am here and I'm able to send money to someone who is miles and miles away, why can't that be the same for menstrual hygiene necessities?
Thinking out of the box.
Just thinking out of the box.
Please break it down with the innovation, because it's quite exciting. The innovations that you came up with at the end of the day.
So during that time, I just thought of, you know, what if I replicated the whole banking sector with the way money moves, and, you know, just used pads as a currency. I was just thinking out loud, and I texted a friend of mine and I told him, I want to build a bank. And then he's like, are you crazy? And I was like, yeah, I actually want to build a bank, but not for money.
Sounded like a movie.
Yeah, it sounded like a movie. I want to build a bank, but not for money. I want to build a bank filled with pads, and the transaction would be in, you know, menstrual hygiene necessities, and we would use technology, and then we would make sure that the girls access pads wherever they are. And I was just bursting with ideas and like, madam, slow down, start from somewhere. And that's when I decided to start a pad share. We enrolled into an EU global hackathon, which was during the lockdown. You know, we ended up becoming the overall winner. We got some money. And then I built PadShare. And then we tested during the height of the lockdown, which was the perfect condition for us to test a remote, you know, product that would help vulnerable people access necessities wherever they are without me having to move. And it worked. And quickly I realized that, you know, this could solve way more problems for organizations looking to have traceable data on how their last mile beneficiaries are accessing support, remove the problems of duplication, you know, not being able to expand your impact area. And it just, you know, took me into a space of, you know, researching about how M&E is working in the humanitarian and agricultural space. And I realized there is so many issues when it comes to how organizations and funding is reaching the grassroots level, and the fact that some of this funding does not reach at all, because most of the people funding say, you know, we don't know what's happening at the grassroots level. We don't have visibility. And I'm like, maybe this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And that's where...
To address such kind of barriers.
Exactly. Just remove that barrier completely and, you know, allow the people who are at the grassroots level access support without these barriers that are preventing them from getting the support that they need. And that is where ShareCard was birthed. Today we are working on our 3rd MVP. We are deployed in Kasese, documenting about 5,000 avocado farmers, giving the project, the people who are funding the project, real-time visibility on how their farmers are accessing necessities, how they're being trained. They have all of this information in real time, and it's quite exciting.
And what does your friend think? In Genesis, when you did the conversation,
I'm still far from, you know, achieving the goal of building a pad bank.
You're still in transit.
But I'm still in transit. And the thing is, throughout this journey, it's been a lot of learning and unlearning, and a lot of, you know, just being creative. Utilizing my natural abilities as a woman to, you know, just look around me and
so
say,
the pain and the trials at the end of the day, it turned out to be a blessing.
It is. It is. I think at the end of the day, the thing is, when you get challenges in life, I look at it as a blessing, because as a living, breathing human being, you know, you're not living if you're not facing challenges, if you're not finding solutions to the challenges you're facing. Otherwise, you're just existing.
Goretti seems to agree to that.
Actually, it is one of the things that pushed me. Yeah, whenever you have something that is pushing you, then you're good to go.
How did you address such barriers? Because I mean, at the end of the day, of course, they'll be like, she's a woman and she's going to to be a lecturer. You know, I would even love to know, do you have men in the classes?
Unfortunately, there are too many technology. Uganda, there are only ladies.
How
Yes.
did you manage to go through and, you know, surpass all the other barriers?
Well, to me, I always focused on inspiring the girls. Like, if she can really do it, then we can also code. Yes.
If you happen to be having a classroom full of men,
Still, I could go for it. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Well, let's get to some of the benefits that come through with being in ICT, in the digital space. I am sure you've achieved certain, you know, going through it all, the hardships, dropping out of school and persisting, and now you are right here where you are positioned. How has it been like for you? Some of the benefits you've registered?
The main of the benefits, actually, the confidence, because currently I can stand before the students and share with them the knowledge I do have. And then secondly, it is the knowledge, because trust me, there are very many things I've actually learned while teaching the students on how to handle them, basically working with a girl child too, and then me personally understanding more of how the development is working in terms of maybe developing the web applications and then the mobile applications. Because you know there are very many languages that you always have to learn. So there are some languages that you're going to learn and you feel like, oh wow, I think I've grasped everything, which is not the case. So sometimes when someone comes like a student, they come to you and they inquire, you know what, Goretti, help me with this. So at times they're also like, oh, okay, I hadn't read about this, let me go and make further research. Yeah, so it is generally the knowledge to my side. Yes.
So every day is a learning experience.
Exactly.
Well, Sandra, we'll move to you. How has ICT benefited you as a woman?
I think I would add on to what Goretti has said. Every day is a new learning experience. There's always something to solve, always a challenge to overcome. And I think for me, being the type of person that I am is I need challenges every day to be able to function. I don't do well with routine. And for me, if I have to get into a role that expects me to do the same thing every day, I get bored and I'm unproductive. But if I have something exciting every day to overcome, you know, something that I need to think through critically, I mean, for me, it's helped me definitely, you know, develop my critical thinking abilities. But also the fact that, you know, I'm growing as a leader in the tech space. There's so many opportunities that are starting to come my way, people contacting me, but also, you know, the ability to inspire younger people and even the older people. I've had conversations with women who are, you know, way older than me and way younger than me, and, you know, the insight you have into life is a bit different from, you know, people who are in other fields of life. You mean you complement other people in wherever they are, just from being a person who uses technology, you know, talking to a person who is in human resource and being able to, you know, give them insight on how they can better manage their people remotely, how they can control workflows and get the most out of their teams in the field. I think for me that is a big benefit, meaning I get to make a difference in the lives of people, improve their work-life balance. You know, I just get to be that middleman between, you know, opportunity and good work. I think for me it's just a calling, and I love it.
You're basically going on through with your ministry.
Exactly.
If you are given an opportunity to go work elsewhere away from Uganda, do you think women from Uganda who have dominated the ICT world can easily, you know, match or be accommodated in other countries?
Of course. Of course. I think that the fact that we have quite a diverse, you know, culture as Ugandans, and the way women are brought up in this country is also key. We can survive anywhere. I mean, bring a woman from the village, put her in the city center. Tomorrow you find her selling tomatoes to survive. That is creativity in itself. So if you pick me up from here and put me in Germany or in the UK or in the US, I am definitely going to survive, because, you know, having tech skills, having these soft skills in terms of, you know, being able to handle technology to build something is very, very important in terms of survival in other spaces. That means I have a skill that is in demand. Right now, there are people who are, you know, fishing for talent in the Ugandan space. Like, do you know that there are actually Ugandans who work for huge corporates abroad? And, you know, at the end of the day, Africa is the future of the workforce of the world. So ideally, you know, having these skills is very, very important. So for me, put me anywhere. With the skills that I have today, I can survive anywhere.
Yeah, then
I'd love to add a voice to it.
Yeah, you know, different countries always have different problems, and then with IT, you can actually work with our skills to solve a particular problem regardless of the country. So definitely, yeah, you would still fit into the society.
IT is a universal language.
Well, I want the parent out there to get to know that the child can enroll and have a course in ICT, or maybe a student out there, how tough it was for Goreti to go through it, but she never switched to do something else. I wouldn't even ask what else you would have done if it wasn't for ICT.
Actually, me, I was very passionate about IT, so I always had to stick onto that. Yes.
Amazing. Well, what do we stand as Uganda?
Pardon?
Because I believe government has also tried to put in more support to embrace the women in technology. Where do we stand as Uganda? How would you rate us? Or have you had a conducive environment?
I wouldn't say the environment is conducive, but we're trying. We're really trying, but I think more needs to be done. I wouldn't expect much out of my generation right now in terms of, you know, getting into that space, because, you know, so many young girls have lost hope. But there is hope for the younger generation. I've seen programs like Fundi Bots, Women in Technology, having, you know, all of these programs for younger kids, getting them excited about science. The main thing is getting young girls, young boys excited about science. And it starts from the young age, you know, being in primary school and being able to build something, experiment with code. That is where it begins. If we are going to have a future workforce that is, you know, excited about solving problems using technology, it starts with changing how our education system is approaching learning right now. Because I would also imagine that, you know, the teachers we have today are not as excited about technology, or they have not been introduced or exposed to technology as much. So it's very difficult for them to actually, you know, pass on that excitement to their learners. And I would expect that there would be programs that the government is putting together to be able to teach these skills to the teachers who are coming into the workforce, to be able to understand that. I mean, basic things like allowing young people have access to phones, it makes a huge difference. You know, growing up in school, you're not allowed to have a phone. The only time you'd start to have a phone is maybe when you are towards the end of your secondary life. This, you know, robs you of the opportunity to explore technology or access technology or communicate even with technology. And I think that is a disadvantage for us.
You'd acquire a phone when you're above 18 years of age.
The thing is, at that time of your life, you're not excited about anything anymore. The only thing that would be able to capture your attention is, you know, things that do not benefit your learning. You see right now people who are acquiring phones at the age of 18, they're excited about Instagram, TikTok, going there for entertainment.
Yes.
But the learning bit of that is what is being taken away when you don't expose young people to technology at an early age. They use it for entertainment as opposed to finding opportunities. That is the difference, and that is what we're doing wrong right now. I mean, even parenting. I mean, parenting is very, very important. If our parents do not understand the value of technology, how are they able to inspire their children to see the same?
Yet they are first teachers at the end of the day.
Exactly.
Well, since we have a teacher in our midst, should let us know what needs to be done. Which kind of support would you love?
Okay, I prefer, like, we should always focus more on the skills than the theory, because when you look at, for example, universities like Makerere, at times you realize that they focus more on the theory part of it than the practicals. Yet when you go out into the field, we are mainly interested in the skills. That is why at times you find that a graduate with a degree, actually someone with a diploma would have more skills compared to a person with a degree. So we should focus more on the skills than the theory part of it.
Why do you think they really tend to concentrate so much on theory?
Okay.
Is it because the resources,
no, at
not
times
enough computers?
students be like, you know what, all I want is to get this done.
Pass my examinations
exactly,
and
I want
get
to
away
pass
from
my
here.
course and get that done. Yeah, so when you come to the field, we are mainly interested into the skills.
So I think it needs to start with orientation. When one starts at campus, there has to be orientation, that excitement she was talking about, that is passed on from the teachers to excite this person, you know, before they just tend to look at the theory and pass the examinations.
Yeah, that is also true.
I mean, just to add on what she's mentioned, you know, you notice how young people go through the education system. It's to tick a box. And you see, the thing is that's where the problem is well, they're not excited about what they're doing. They're not inspired to do what they're doing. There's nothing challenging for them in there. That's why it's very easy for children to cheat, because they're not excited about what they're doing.
They want to simply run away.
They want to simply finish it and move on with their lives.
Will I be able to get a job at the end of the day so quick?
Those questions, there's really not much exposure to what the possibilities are. The foundation is very important.
So when it comes to ICT or STEM, is it like, yes, as soon as I get out of campus, quick job, making money? How is it like?
Not really.
Not really.
Please let them know.
But I think it's not quick money, and this is where what we get wrong is the way we teach kids to go through this, the way we expect children or young people to go through the education system is also wrong. We're not teaching them the important skills that would support them when they get out of the education system. We're not allowing them to have expectations, or we're not even challenging them to, you know, to do the extra work, to be, you know, to have better chances when they get out. One of the things that someone recently told me is that the reason why you go to school is to find people and build a community around yourself. It's not simply about passing tests, going to class and being a valedictorian, which is good, but at the end of the day, when you're getting out of school, what type of support system have you built around yourself to give yourself the best chances of knowing if there is an opportunity out there for you? That's where the people who have major resources in this country get it right. They send their kids to the best schools. That's why you hear the association, the Smart League associations. These are all people who are in prominent places, who are able to connect people that are from the community that they were in to these opportunities. You know, that's why the child in the village does not stand a chance. In the village school does not stand a chance against someone who is from a major league school. Because at the end of the day, the fraternities and the societies that are created among these kids is what gives them access to massive opportunities.
So how can we accommodate that child that you're talking about from the rural setup? I think because I mean, at the end of the day, they will trek to come to the city center to get better jobs.
I think there is a need to open up these societies for other kids as well. I mean, you know, imagine, you know, getting kids from Budo to connect with kids from Aduku Secondary School where I studied, you know, getting them to forge that relationship, share ideas, and, you know, just have a friendship going. In that when this kid is done with, you know, secondary school and they're looking to come to a school in the city center, they have someone to reach out to, someone they know that they can hang out with, share ideas, bounce off ideas with. The most important thing for you as a young person is to find people you can bounce off valuable ideas like, you know, people who can challenge you. And you don't get that if you are stuck in the slums. You get people who think at the same level. For you to make it out, you need to connect with people who think at a different level.
Gorita, how is it like for you in your class? The women you tend to meet at the end of the day when you're lecturing them, how are they from different communities? What do you see? What needs to be done?
Actually, most of them are always from different communities. So at times you realize that there are people who actually
certain class or level?
No, different levels. There are some from actually senior 6. Then if you drop out for the elevate programs, people who stopped in senior 4. So at times you realize that their level of understanding is actually different in terms of the computer basics. So at times it depends on the areas. There are areas that do not embrace technology itself. especially the rural areas. So at times there are challenges whereby now, in terms of the internet connectivities in the rural area, someone will be like, you know, I was, for example, in Bombo, I wanted to attend the class, and you know, because of internet connections, I failed to join the class. So such issues.
So that's where government comes in.
Yes. Then also availing things like now laptops, or maybe areas that have, okay, if they have the internet, then you can also always avail them with the computers, because it always starts with the basics themselves. Yeah.
How far can one go when it comes to STEM?
The possibilities are endless. Because I think in the job market today, one of the most demanded skill sets is software, being able to build software. Because
as long as you can solve a problem out there, then you're good to go.
You're good to go.
It's about solving a problem. At the end of the day, you'll be easily accommodated anywhere, anytime.
Because the thing is, you know, having access to a global village, just, you know, it removes the boundaries, like the country borders that you have. You know, you needing a visa to go to the US to do a job is no longer necessary. I can do the job from here if I have the skill, if I have the drive, and if I have the access to the employers. You know, I don't need to, you know, get a visa to go to the US to do a job. I can do that job from home. And I think COVID actually showed us that, you know, today there are so many young people building workforce resources for people abroad, the international market, to hire locally, and this is very good business today. And the thing is, if you're someone with those skills and there's someone in the Philippines or in India or in the US looking for that skill and you're ready, that is good money. I know friends who make in a month about $15,000 US working for a single entity.
So it's easier. It's within the skills.
Yes.
The skills determine your wings for you to spread.
And it actually doesn't matter whether you're old or what. It's all about the skills and not how far you've gone in terms of education. Because with IT, I've seen people actually who are senior 4 dropouts, and they are very well conversant when it comes to the field in terms of the skills and then even the experience. Yes.
Yeah, so because some people have that, you know, they have that the fear. They're like, I need to first reach campus, I need to go through all the levels and all those stages.
With IT, it is very different. You can actually find a kid who is aged 16 and they're even far better than you who is actually 20, or you even have a degree. So it's all about skills.
A kid who is 16 years old, and he has 4 clients. He's
4 clients. Software developer.
A 16-year-old actually hacked one of the banks, though I'm forgetting the country. So you see that someone at that age can even do the hacking part.
Was it a trial?
No, they really hacked, and then later on...
It was intentional.
Yes. Because according to the story, looks like the kid was doing it for the purposes of income to help the dad. Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah, so it is all about skills. It doesn't matter whether you're 8 or 20, as long as you have the skills, then you're good to go with IT.
So I think at times that's why others have the fears of like her, but never fairy.
So that is why at times you find
in society.
You see how long it took Ugandans to embrace technology, even with mobile money itself. Just the thought of your money being on the phone is like, is it safe? But your money is still not safe under the mattress, though. So you'd rather have your money on a SIM card. And you see, the thing is, right now, mobile money is like the most widely used means of, you know, saving money, sending money, just transfers alone. People have fully embraced that. Now, if Ugandans, even the older generation, can embrace that, and if you have the skills to build technology like that, it's, I don't know.
Any software, any innovations, you are an innovator yourself, any other innovations that you can cite out that have been made by women or yourself? You've done something that you'll have to share with the viewer.
Yeah, okay, me currently, I'm more into development, writing the code, developing the software products, and then testing. So maybe products I've worked on, though many of them always require a demo for you to have. So the few we have deployed is, recently I worked on an app. It's called the Homes Darling app. Yes. Then currently I've also been working with a team in different companies to develop APIs. So when it comes to APIs development, the application programming interfaces, yes, that is my point of view. So many of them actually, now an API is like, for example, you are building a mobile application, it can be Jumia or SafeBorder. So the communication between the app, for example, when you're registering, we always have to save the data into a database. So that is where I come in. So my major products I work on are into the development itself. Yeah. So that is it generally. Then at times I also build my own. For example, there is a software called GitHub. So at times I create projects that are open source for these other developers that are just starting from scratch to always clone and just use them for their basics of learning. Yeah.
Sandra, tell us about your innovation once more.
So my innovation is ShareCard, and ShareCard is a digital platform that focuses on making M&E easier and traceable in real time. So ideally what the platform does, it remotely gathers, aggregates and analyzes program implementation data, focusing on the last mile in real time. So meaning as a project manager, you can sit in Kampala and have your project team in Lira or Gulu and see exactly what they're doing, but also be able to, control their workflows, and then also have verification, like verified data from the last mile. That is not something that has been easy to do. We see offices during the times when they're at the heat of the project, they have stacks of papers this big. So we are removing those stacks of paper and replacing it with a mobile phone and a laptop. So, just being able to know if you've sent funding to the grassroots level and you're working with remote implementers, have they been able to reach the people that you intend to reach, and who are these people? Most of the times people come back from the field, they hand you a list of people that they say they've worked with, but can you verify this information? Do you know who these people are? And if you needed to do an audit and a follow-up, can you find these people? So we're making that possible and
making it easier.
Yeah, making it cheaper, we're making it easier. Right now we have 3 main packages that organizations can sign up for. We have the $50 package, you can manage up to 1,000 beneficiaries. We have the $150 package, can give you about 10,000, 5,000, and then the 240, which gets you up to 100,000 beneficiaries that you can manage. I think this is very important, especially if government or institutions are working at targeting remote people for skilling programs, providing them with resources to lift them out of poverty. I think being able to measure that impact and direct your efforts to the right spaces is very important. And data is key for this. You need information, you need to hear from the people that you're supporting, and you also need to remove the bias that comes with the people you're working with. And that is what we've been able to do with ShareCard. Yes.
With the experience you have, and I'm sure you've reached out to so many people with that kind of technology or that kind of innovation, how can we address the gender bias?
I think being able to address the gender bias when it comes to technology is just opening up the floodgates of opportunities that technology has to offer, and just removing these uncomfortable conversations that women try to avoid in the workspaces. Because if I come into work and you're identifying me as a woman developer,
just at the start of things,
just at the start
before
of
you even
things,
say anything,
for me,
one sets eyes on you and they're like, she's a woman.
She's a woman. Like, I mean, you've overlooked all of the things that I can do and decided to focus on the fact that I'm a woman. I think having more inclusive spaces, removing uncomfortable conversations, and then, just from the time a girl is born, just get them excited about technology. Don't remove that curiosity because as a young girl I was very, very curious, but then I saw that the people who nurtured me, the teachers who were nurturing me, were you know, I kind of had this vibe that they were nudging me to go in a different direction, a more feminine direction, which didn't work for me. So that's for me where my rebellion started, and that's for me why I was able to retain my interest in technology, because I was rebellious from the get-go. So just, you know, encourage girls to, you know, tackle hard problems.
Well, Goreti, what do you think? What would your take be when it comes to issue of gender bias, or maybe the aspect of the women not being accommodated or embraced when it comes to decision making in the digital space?
So the first thing I would think about is the mentorship, because the mentorship actually works with inspiring or sharing with them different stories from different ladies who have really made it in the technology field. Yeah, because even for my sake, it was always the mentorship from different people who have really made it, and you'd be like, oh wow, I think I also want to be like her. Yes.
So, well, I know it's never a bed of roses. You have to go through those tough situations and make it through. Quite inspiring stories, I should say, and I believe the viewer out there has also been inspired. Something that you love someone to remember you for, Sandra? I watched Sandra Kahunde, the co-founder, and I really want to go right ahead with this innovation that I have at hand.
Something that I want to be remembered for is I did what I could with what I had. And I sometimes failed, but you know, other times I made it work. For me, it's just the resilience that I have is what I want to be remembered for. Yep.
You would really handle the shoes if you are given such shoes to be the minister in ICT.
Yeah.
You take it on.
Yeah. I think I have a lot to offer. Yes.
And your first 100 days, what would you tackle?
My first 100 days, what I would tackle is education. How young people are educated and how they are, you know, introduced to the world of technology. I think off the top of my head, I can think of 5 prominent people that I would want to work with to
Amazing, the role models that you already have.
Exactly.
They're all Ugandan.
Yes, they're all Ugandan. Very amazing, innovative young people who are doing amazing work out there. I mean, just, you know, giving shout outs to Fundibots Solomon. He's building an entity where, you know, he's just getting young kids excited about robotics. Yes, so very cool stuff.
So we need the robots to come through and help us with the chores.
Yes.
The chores in the house.
Yeah, I mean, AI. People today are using AI to think about, you know, to dive into hard problems, to do research. It's incredible where the world is going, and I think it would be sad if young Ugandans missed out on the future. Because, you know, of these gaps that we have not yet been able to fill up, especially in education.
And the solutions as well that need to come through when it comes to cybercrime as well.
True.
Well, Goreti,
well, me, I do
a message of inspiration.
Okay, me, I do believe I'm one of the best female developers in Uganda. Yes, and I would like to give credit to Women in Technology Uganda. Yeah.
Honorable Goreti, Minister of ICT, give it to us. What would your focus be for starters if you sat in that office?
Okay, I would also focus more on education in terms of technology, like embracing the young girl. Actually, it will not only I will not only focus on the young girls, but both the genders. Because even currently, one of my brothers actually wanted to also come into the field for technology, but there are more chances to the women than the men. So I would focus more on technology in terms of embracing them or teaching them on how the development is done, on how we develop, on how we solve the problems out there in terms of technology. Because trust me, it is actually quite easy. If I'm actually 23, I just made 23 in March. If I can really do that programming, I always sit with men who are like 30 and, you know.
Someone expects you to be at least 40.
Exactly.
To be able to convince them.
So if I can really do it at such a young age, then they can also do it. Yes.
Wow, so passionate. You're looking forward to both the girl child and the boy child.
Yes.
An engineer right here yesterday was complaining. He's called Famba and he's like, women, inspiring the girls and the ladies out there. They're not even talking about us.
Yeah, so me, I could focus both on men and women. You know, we ladies, we're always in our, okay, not a comfort zone, but you know how, you know that different times of challenges we always have as women. Yes, so at times why people focus more on women is that girls are always like, you know, I cannot develop this. Okay, I'm tired, you know, let me go and rest. Then at times you're even sick per month, the cycles you always go through. And at times you're like, this is so stressing, you know, I think this is only for boys. Yeah, so such things.
Okay, they hold us back.
Yes.
Wow. Brilliant ideas, great suggestions and submissions. Thank you so much.
Thank you for hosting us too, and thank you to UBC for hosting us. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Wow. Yeah. Well, for the viewer out there who's still watching, we're about to let you go and enjoy your Wednesday. But just briefly letting you know about my panel. At the extreme end right there, I had Sandra. Sandra, thank you for your time. Sandra Kahunde.
Thank you for having me.
She's a co-founder and team lead of ShareCard. Just go right ahead. Go girl and support those fellow girls out there, the women in the community. And next to me, I had Namatanzi Goriti. She's a software developer. Wow. Wish you all the best. Thank you for making time.
Thank you.
Well, my viewer, that's all we had time for this episode as we continue to celebrate women in ICT right here at the National Broadcaster. My name is Sandra Kahunde. I wish you a great day and God bless you. See you next time.